Emperor of China asked the national teacher, Chu, "What will you need after you die?" The national teacher said, "Make me a seamless monument." The emperor said, "Please tell me what the monument would be like." The national teacher was silent for a long while. Then he said, "Understand?" The emperor said, "I don't understand." The national teacher said, "I have a disciple to whom I have imparted the teaching, named Tangen. He is an expert in this matter. Please ask him." After the national teacher had passed on, the emperor summoned Tangen and asked him what this meant. Tangen said, "South of Shou, north of Tang, herein is gold enough for the whole country. Under the shadowless tree, the communal ferryboat. Up in the crystal palace, there is none who knows. South of Shou, north of Tang, Setcho. The single palm of the hand does not make a sound in vain. Within it there is gold that fills the land. Setcho, a natural staff without artificial work. Beneath the shadowless tree, a ferry boat. Setcho, the sea is calm, the river is clear. In the crystal palace there is no intellect. Setcho, the Teisho is finished." The seamless monument. The koan, for me, that speaks personally to the heart of practice and the heart of my practice. It speaks about true nature, about my true nature, and my responsibility to realise that true nature. It reminds me to turn to this place, in this moment, wherever I am, wherever that happens to be. It reminds me about my life, and to pay attention to my life, to take care of my life. It reminds me that this is the only life that I have. I have no other. Overall, I think this koan points to true nature and our personal responsibility to wake up to it. There are three characters in this koan: the Emperor of China, the national teacher, Echu, and his Dharma heir successor, Tangen. Echu died in about 775. He was the Dharma heir to Huineng, someone we know as Daikan Eno, the sixth patriarch. And there was, for the time, he did study under the fifth patriarch. The impression I get of him is a very strong character. He stayed at his temple for about 40 years and was asked on 3 occasions to become the national teacher, and 3 times he refused, which tells me a little bit about his strength of character and where his priorities lay. There was no respect of persons, of the court. But eventually he agreed, and he spent about 16 years as the national teacher. The beginning of the koan, Echo is in an audience with the emperor. And he's an old man at this time. Possibly he's frail, hasn't got long to live. The emperor asks him, What will you need when you die? As if he needs anything when he dies. But what the Emperor's talking about here, he's saying asking him a simple question. What can we do for you to commemorate your life as the national teacher? And the Emperor is thinking in terms of a monument, a tomb, or a pagoda. And Etchu responds, build me a seamless monument. And what does he mean by a seamless monument? Is a question that came up for me, and a question that would come up for anyone in this koan. What is the seamless monument? And of course, if you're going to build anything, build any structure, like a tomb or a pagoda, anything to commemorate anybody's life, you're going to need to use stone and rocks and marble, granite or whatever, and put it together, and it's going to have seams. So what's Etchu doing here? They're both coming from different perspectives. We could say that the Emperor's coming from the relative and Etchu's coming from the absolute. But I think Etchu here is challenging the Emperor. He's asking him, show me your true self. Here, this place, this room in the palace, show me who you really are. So it's a challenge, it's also a teaching. Show me your true nature. Between good and evil, who are you right now? Forget the pomp and the circumstance of the court. Forget your concerns with monuments, tombs, and pagodas. Who are you right now, this very moment? So the Emperor is still coming from that perspective, that everyday perspective. Says to him, what will it look like? What will the seamless monument look like? And of course, what Etchu's talking about, reality, true nature, can't be compared. He can't give him a comparison. It's not possible. And the Emperor seems to want to know. Give me something. What's it like? And it reminds me a little bit of how I was when I first came to practice. Wanting to know what Buddha nature was. What is Mu? Wanting to know these things. The Emperor, in some ways, wants to be told, I think. He doesn't want to realise it for himself. He wants a simile, he wants a comparison. And he doesn't really understand what Etchu's talking about. So Etchu responds. Do you understand? He says. He offers him silence. And what's he mean by this silence? Why is he offering this silence? And for me, he's simply shown him true nature in that moment. The verse says, the seamless pagoda is difficult to describe. Words can't describe it. And there's two ways of looking at this as far as I'm concerned. Perhaps, when I say is it difficult to describe, is it something ephemeral, something we can't see, we can't touch? In one sense it is when we first come to practice. We're told about true nature, we're told about the Dharma, we're asking all these questions, and we can't see it, we can't realise it. We think it's something else, something other than ourselves, this life. It's also difficult to see because I look at my watch, it's all the time, it's this. If I look about this room, it's this. If I go out into Hope Street, that's it. I can't see behind me. It's many layered. It's multifaceted. So I think that also is what is meant by it can't be seen. But the emperor doesn't realise what Etchu is talking about. And so he says, I don't understand. So the national teacher, Etchu, passes this teaching on. Maybe he's had enough. 16 years of teaching. The emperor hasn't realised his true nature. Am I wasting my time? Maybe he's being compassionate. I tend to think he's being compassionate here. And he's old and he's going to die soon. He says, I have a Dharma heir, a successor, Tangen. He's an expert in this. Maybe he is a poison chalice, I don't know. Maybe he thinks that Tangen's got a better angle on this. He's got a different teaching style. He certainly seems to have a different teaching style when we meet him shortly. So he says, anyway, ask him. So, Etchu dies. And Tangen the emperor summons Tangen. And the summons is something you have to respond to. You get a summons from the court, you've got to go. So Tangen arrives. And we can imagine maybe the questions that the emperor's asked himself. Maybe the national teacher has sown a seed of doubt. Maybe he's starting to ask those deeper questions. What is the seamless monument? Maybe he's taken this up as a personal koan. We don't know. The koan doesn't tell us. We can only guess. So Tangen arrives. I can imagine the emperor asking him. I had this meeting with the emperor and I asked him if he wanted me to build, what did he want after he died? And he said, build a seamless monument. What was that about? And he was quiet for a long time. What was that about? What was he doing? So Tangen offers him a series of images and metaphors and build up that picture of the seamless monument to point to what Etchu was trying to say. And so he says, south of Sho, north of Tan, therein is gold enough for everyone. So north, south, east and west, the seamless monument is there. Wherever you go, 24/7, it's with you. Take it with you. It's outside of you. It's all around you. It's there. You can't escape it. Herein is gold enough for the whole country, he says. And what does he mean by gold? What is the gold? I think in the context of the times, the gold he's referring to in the context of the koan is Zen teaching. It's flourishing at this time. And the temples everywhere, all over the place. Dharma teachers everywhere. But he's also talking about the teaching of your life, of everybody's life. Wherever you go, it's there. Getting up in the morning, coming out of the shed, in the lakes, and looking at the night, the mist rising off the River Lau there. And the sun coming over the mountain, coming over the night. Doing bound practice, which Andy insisted I do. And sent a spy into the camp in the form of Tony Doubleday to make sure I did it. And I did it. That was gold. I knew it was good for me. There was resistance there, of course there was. There was a resistance of doing this. This is gold. Doing this. Nervous as hell doing this. This also was gold. What about those times when it's not going so well? We haven't got beautiful views and mountains, and our lives don't present that, because our lives don't present that to us all the time. You know, on a personal note, 6 months ago, Sunday morning I woke up, pain in my chest, pain all the way down my arm, my heartbeat racing. It was about 150 beats a minute, and I'd just woken up from sleep. I was like, shit, something's wrong. I knew something was wrong. Is there any gold there? If that had happened Saturday night, more than likely I'd have cracked open a bottle of wine, quaffed a few, had something to eat, stayed up late. It might have complicated matters. Things might have been different. That's gold. Phoning an ambulance, lying on the couch, clutching my chest. Where is it? Why is it taking so long? Time. And we don't know the hell what's going to happen next. How precious is that time? Money can't buy that. That's gold. And the ambulance arrived, you know, plenty of time. Just my concept, my idea. That was taking a long time because I was in a lot of pain. And one thing I didn't want to happen, I didn't want to go to Southport General. My brother had a heart attack and he'd gone to Southport General, and they're not a heart specialist. But I later found out in the ambulance that they just dropped somebody off at Fazakerley and they'd come from Broad Green when they got the call. Rushed down the M58. I was going to the best heart and chest unit in Europe. But people taking care of me, that was gold. It was Sunday morning, early hours, the streets were quiet. We were there in no time. That was gold. So this koan reminds me that I'm responsible for waking up to the gold in my life. No one can do that for me. The Emperor, Echu and Tangen can't do it for the Emperor. He has to wake up to the gold in his own life. Beyond the court, beyond the pomp and circumstance, beyond being concerned with building monuments and pagodas for people who've died. Only he can see the gold in his life. And he says, under the shadowless tree, a communal ferryboat. What's the shadowless tree? All the trees I see cast shadows. This tree doesn't. This tree refers to the timeless. And I think it's intimately connected with the ferryboat, the communal ferryboat, of time, of being, of our life. Something that we're free to use or not use as we see fit. Time swiftly passes by, we say at the end of the evening. Do not squander your life. This time that we have is there for us to use. We can use it as we see fit, to realize our true nature, to wake up to our own lives, here and now. Some commentaries say that the communal ferryboat is there to take us to the other shore. The irony is that the other shore is right here, right now. This ferryboat's not going anywhere. Each moment is fresh. Each moment is itself. And we're not just passive observers of time. We ourselves flow with time, flow with our life. And if we bring in stuff from the past and we project to the future, then we create a shadow. We create delusion. We create a shadow. We muddy the waters of our life. We do this all the time. Up in the Crystal Palace, there is none who knows. Again, I think the Crystal Palace here is another metaphor for the seamless monument, for our life. It's clear right in front of us. When we're not bringing in stuff from the past or the future, or believing the stories we tell ourselves of whatever situation we're in. It's clear. room here now. Everything's crystal clear. There's nothing hidden. right here in front of us. Echu offered the emperor the opportunity in that period of silence to wake up to his own life. It's up to him to do that and to see what is right in front of him. There is none who knows anything really ultimately. When I was in the ambulance going to Broad Green, that's all I had was that ambulance. The people looking after me there. I didn't know what was going to happen next. And all my Zen training kicked in. It's unbelievable. I haven't been wasting my time. I really haven't. Come on, Keith, just focus on your breathing. In, out. Just being with what that was. Not thinking about what might happen. Of course, a shot of morphine helped, I think. Okay, so now we come to Secho's comments. He says, south of Sho, north of Tan. The single palm of the hand doesn't make a sound in vain. When I wake up in the morning here, more often than not, it's a thrush singing on. There's a stool right by me, and there's usually a thrush singing in the morning, or a blackbird. I don't say it's lacking a few notes. Could do with a few more. You know. I was worried about the second week of my Shuso. People were cancelling, and we were down to 5 people, and I had this idea, I've got to have more people. And then another voice popped up and said, shut up. Just deal with it as it is, you know. And that week was perfect. You couldn't add anything to it, you couldn't take anything from it. The single palm of the hand doesn't make a sound in vain. Within it there is gold that fills the land, a natural staff without artificial web. The staff represents the truth, represents Buddha nature, represents the seamless monument, whatever you want to call it. I can't add anything to this life. We don't bring in stuff from the past and project to the future. And plain and simple, chopping wood, carrying water. My dad used to run his hands under a hot tap and said, wasn't it lovely to have hot water? He really appreciated something as simple as that. Unadorned. Beneath the shadowless tree, a ferry boat. Secho says the sea is calm, the river is clear. The things are just calm, I think, when we're not telling ourselves our own stories, and we're not believing in what the stories we tell ourselves, and we're not living in the past or living in the future. It's calm and clear. And that flow of life, which he's using the metaphor of a river here. Each moment is fresh. Doesn't bring any debris with it, any flotsam and jetsam, just clear. And yet we muddy those waters all the time. I know I do. In the Crystal Palace, there is no intellect. The Teisho is finished, says Secho. Every autumn, the geese fly over in West Head. A sight I love to see. I go out and watch it. I start thinking about it. Start adding nonsense. What kind of geese are they? Where are they going? Where have they come from? Just both that moment. Ruined it. Appreciate it. It's a beautiful moment.